People are always asking, where should I put my money in retirement? But maybe the better question is, where shouldn't you put it? According to a recent article in Wealthopedia, some of the most common retirement investment vehicles are quietly bleeding value. From variable annuities with hidden fees to target date funds that underperform for decades, the hit list is long and eye-opening. Our host and certified financial planner, Adam Wolf, is here to break down the traps, the truths, and the alternatives. If you've ever wondered whether your retirement portfolio is working for you or if it's quietly working against you, this episode is a must-listen. And of course, if you're ready to make smarter, more strategic decisions about your retirement, be sure to visit wolfretirement.com to connect with Adam and his team. Adam, how are you today?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Always so happy to sit down and pick your brain on this. I love finding these little lists. I feel like I'm always trying to challenge you with some sort of obscure list of items and see what I can throw at you.
I love it. Bring it on.
All right, so batter up. We're going to start. This is from the article, Investment Accounts That Are Quietly Bleeding Value. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on them. The first one was variable annuities. Talk to me about those.
Don't get me started. You're setting me up.
I saw the twinkle in your eye. You were ready.
Gosh. Okay, so, the variable annuity piece, now, this is 90+% of variable annuities because variable annuities are, from a tax perspective, like any other annuity where you get special tax treatment in the tax code, which is if you have it outside of your IRA, you're able to grow the gains tax deferred until you need it. So that's great. Okay, so we like that. But what happens is in between that time, during that time, the costs, the fees, the expenses within variable annuities, for the most part, are god-awful. They are just horrible. I'm talking about 0.5% to 1.5% for mortality and expense charges. That's just the right to own that variable annuity, number one.
Wow.
Number two, the variable annuities are based on investments in the stock market. And how do they get into that kind of investment in the stock market? They use what's called a sub-account. And those sub-accounts are basically like mutual funds, but instead of to the market, it's to the insurance company. So there's a charge to the managers of those funds. Those can be 0.5% up to, I've seen them as high as 2%.
Wow.
Then you add on rider fees for lifetime income or guarantees of lifetime income or guarantees of death benefit, or there's all these different things that could be tacked on from there. I've seen them, and this was multiple years ago, but I've seen them as high as almost 5% a year in fees and expenses.
Wow.
The average ones I've seen between 1.5 to 2.5 in that range. There are some like with Vanguard or Fidelity, you can have some with bare bones costs, but the majority of those other ones, and then you add on potential surrender fees if you try to get out of them. And I'm not saying all annuities are bad because we work with annuities. We just do not work with variable annuities. If you want market risk, go into the stock market. Why would you need an annuity to get market risk?
That's a great point. And even in just what you were saying, you were talking 5% here, 0.5% there, 2% there. We're talking 7-8%. And that's just for fees. And we've got to make that much more before we're actually putting any money back into it.
If we're looking at the total expenses, say we're about 2 to 3% on average, it's very difficult, no matter what you're doing, to make money over time. And it goes, into the pockets of the insurance companies.
What is the appeal then that gets people drawn into them in the first place?
They're sold. They're sold by advisors who use those. And everybody's got their different business models, and I'm not here to knock or any different business model. It's just what those advisors are comfortable selling. And a lot of times they're also saying, hey, there's a higher upside potential because it's in the stock market, which is okay. But sometimes they put restrictors on what you can invest in within those sub-accounts. So when you add in the restriction potential of the sub-accounts and then also the fee loads and the expense loads on there, next thing you know, it's very difficult to grow your way out of that. So, but there's some guarantees of lifetime income that are typically sold, but you can get that in other different products for a lot less expense.
And I like what you said. If you're wanting to be in the stock market, go get stocks.
Correct.
Okay, number 2 on the list, target date funds. They're marked as a set it and forget it solution, but they charge an average expense ratio of 68%. Talk to me about
Yeah, I'd say 0.68. Yeah, 68%. Well, wow.
I missed that little decimal right there. We'll let the editors fix that one. 0.68%.
Target. See, the thing that the target date funds for set it and forget it folks can be okay if you're just not paying attention to it. It can. Not that it's ideal. That's
so break
the big
it down
difference
for me first and tell me what even is a target date fund.
So a target date fund is a fund based on a certain target in the future, a date. Let's use an example. We're going to have this 2030 fund. That means right now we're in 2025, that every year we get closer to 2030, they're going to have less stock exposure, which is more risk, and then more bond exposure over time. So the stock goes down, the bond goes up. So it's supposed to have less risk as you get closer to that target date. And so a lot of people use these based on mutual funds. They use these in 401k plans or going directly to the Vanguards or the Fidelities. And it's more of like a set it and forget it, but it's not ideal because each of those target date funds has multiple mutual funds that you're investing in that you don't see. And each of those mutual funds has an expense associated with it to manage it. So not only are you paying the expenses for those mutual funds, which I don't know what the ranges are, but I know they can be substantial, plus that average 0.68 on top of that. So it's a way for you, hey, if you want to have something that's over time going to get a little less risky, closer to that date you choose, that's okay. But just know, full disclosure, there's some expense that comes with that, and you might not be aware of that.
And there are other options out there if you're sitting down with an advisor that you can still manage that risk tolerance if this doesn't feel like a good fit.
You got it.
A third one on the list, 401k selections involving company stock. So many employees assume that their company's 401k lineup was curated for performance, not profit. But sadly, their loyalty is rarely rewarded. Talk to me about 401ks in the company.
Yeah. So the 401k plan, within the 401k plan, they're required by law to put a lot of different mutual funds in there, different asset classes. So, not having all of your eggs in one basket. And this really came from Enron, which most people who are my clients remember Enron and how it was a lot of people who owned Enron stock within their 401k went bust because Enron went out of business. One of the top 10 companies in the world went out of business. So after that, we had to diversify these investments, these mutual funds for the most part, in these 401ks. Now, a lot of the clients that I work with, a lot of the companies, like I have Publix stock or I have Costco stock. So for my Publix and Costco folks, we're going to keep that stock. We're going to keep a good portion of it because they're such well-run companies. But when it comes to most companies, it doesn't make sense to have all of your eggs in one basket. And so if you have mutual fund selections within that 401k and you're still working at that company and you're still restricted because you can't move your money because you're not 59 and a half yet. So we're able to help our clients by moving the money where it makes sense into IRAs that we have more control over and more options with. So other than the mutual funds in that 401k, and or the company's stock that's being offered. So whenever it comes to company stock, we have to be careful how much you have and not having too much concentration in that stock.
Diversification.
Diversification.
That key word.
Yes, huge. It's a huge word.
So next on the list is stable value funds. They're often pitched to conservative investors or those nearing retirement, but the stability comes at a price of often being very stagnant.
Yes. And so with stable value funds, most of the time I see those is when I meet with people and for the first time, and they have that option within their, whether it's the 401k plan or the 403b plan or whatever plan they have through their employer. A lot of times there'll be like a money market account or a stable value account. Now that stable value account, the devil's in the details, like with everything. if it's saying it's going to pay out a certain percentage of interest, because it's supposed to be stable and it's supposed to be principally protected. And depending on the claims paying ability of the insurance company that's sponsoring that plan, that stable value fund is directly related to that company. So we want to make sure that company's plan is stable, no pun intended, and paying a decent interest rate. And we know what the costs are, because with those 401ks and 403bs and all those places, sometimes the costs are in front of your face, and a lot of times it's all behind the scenes. So those stable value funds can get pricey, but it really depends on what the goal is, even eligible to move it, if it makes sense to go directly into another investment outside of that plan. The devil's in the details with that too. So that's what we look at and help people with every day.
I think that's sort of the overarching message of all of this is the devil's in the details, because all of these little percentages, these little fees, they add up, and over years and compounded, that can affect what you're sitting on when you retire.
Yeah, if you add it up, I mean, a lot of times we'll see people come in, they'll be paying around 1% to 2% with just the charges and fees and expenses that they see and the ones that they don't see. So let's just say it was 1.5%. We put together portfolios where a portion of our plan might be 1.5%, but the other portion of our plan might be zero direct expense to them because of the way we're compensated from the insurance companies if our plan includes, indexed annuities or fixed annuities. So when we blend those two together, our clients are paying less. And so if any time you can save 0.5%, 0.25%, that adds up over time. Think of 0.5% on a $500,000 portfolio. That's $2,500 a year over a 20, 30, 40-year retirement. Compounded, that's a lot of money.
I think people forget the power of compounding. I think back to that analogy that I was given probably in fourth grade where they ask you that it seems like a trick question. Would you like to have a penny compounded every day? So it's 1 penny on day 1, 2 on day 2, 4 on day 3, et cetera. And every kid's like, no, I'll take the, $100 or whatever it is. And you lost out on a bunch of money because you didn't take into consideration the power of compounding.
Yes, power compounding is huge, but the fee savings that we're able to offer to our clients, for the most part, most of the clients in the portfolios that we put together have a lower structure than they were having before. And as long as it's fully disclosed and we tell people where the fees are coming from and where they're going, anything we can do to help them in that regard, it saves money and it's more money in their pocket. And
that's a big factor too, is full disclosure. Nobody likes to be surprised by something that was hidden or, as you said, the devil in the details that, I didn't read that fine print and now suddenly there's this fee coming out of my portfolio that I wasn't expecting. If you know and you're fully, there's full disclosure there, you can plan accordingly.
You got it. That's it.
All right. Last one on the list was mutual funds with loads.
Okay. Yeah, these are the ones we stay far, far away from because all a load means is a upfront commission that reduces the value of your mutual fund day one. So if you went to go buy an American Funds mutual fund, it was for $50,000 and it had a load of 4%, then you're paying $2,000 upfront for the commission for the right to own that mutual fund.
Wow.
Up front. So you start with, you do the math on that. You're starting with less. So plus the expenses that are management expenses every year on that thing. So the devil is in the details once again.
Yeah. And
stay far, far away from the loaded mutual funds. Because if you do like a mutual fund, there's always going to be a non-load version of it. Mm-hmm. But the people who sell those don't make that commission on it. So they don't let you know that. So you can go directly to the company. You could go direct and buy it without that expense. So it's like getting it one way or going, it's a retail or wholesale, and that's what it really boils down to.
And there are so many nuances to all of these things. It's such a reminder that's why you need somebody in your corner to sit down and have this conversation that really understands you, your goals, your portfolio, and you can have that heart-to-heart conversation that this is where I want to be in 5 years, this is where I want to be in 10 years or 15 years, not just haphazardly maybe trying to manage it yourself. You might be missing some of these things.
You got it. This is all I do. So, and all my team does. If you want a specialist working on your behalf, you hire us to help you with this. And that's what we do.
So if somebody is sitting at home listening to this and realizing, I might have checked 3 of those things off the list and I want to make some changes, how can they reach out to you?
You call us. You call in into the office, 904-232-8760. Give Andrea a call. And right now we have Harley in the office who's helping out, and Andrea's out on maternity leave. But Andrea should be coming back shortly on that. Give us a call, get on my calendar. We'll get some answers to your questions.
Fantastic. So if you're ready to build, not just plan, but you're looking for a lifelong partnership, someone on your side, check out wolfretirement.com. Or again, as Adam said, you can call 904-232-8760. And of course, make sure that you subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Adam's always here with lots of insight and making sure that he's paying attention to all of the details so the devil doesn't get on in there.
Yeah, it's about the last time I'll be using that devil's in the details terminology again.
I think it's fantastic and on point for what we're talking about. So, Adam, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Investment advisory services offered through Coil Capital LLC, a registered investment advisor. Wolf Retirement Navigation LLC and Coil Capital LLC are not affiliated. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. No investment strategy can guarantee a profit or protect against loss in periods of declining values. Opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and are not intended as investment advice or to predict future performance. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Consult your financial professional before making any investment decision. This information is designed to provide general information on the subjects covered. It is not, however, intended to provide specific legal or tax advice and cannot be used to avoid tax penalties or to promote, market, or recommend any tax plan or arrangement. Please note that Wolf Retirement Navigation LLC and its affiliates do not give legal or tax advice. You are encouraged to consult your tax advisor or attorney. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurer. Any references to protection or benefits or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products or services. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and not offered by Coil Capital LLC. Florida Insurance License Number W016816.